Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. In this video we are going to be looking at Hershel, who has just become a legacy Ascendable character. We have known that he is going to be one of the next Ascendables from the legacy group of characters for a little while. The next character up is going to be Maggie, and she is promised before October, but we have Hershel first, and it's Hershel miles behind us. This is him as a 5-star, and we'll check out his rush. Deal 450% damage to one enemy, revive one teammate with 60% of their max HP. So obviously not too much going on there. He's sort of like a hit and heal, but the heal, instead of healing his teammates, he just actually revives one. So pretty useful in the 6-star era. If he becomes the same sort of character, he could be actually pretty decent on certain attack teams, maybe even on certain defense teams. So as a 6-star, he turns into Hershel again, miles behind us. Now we'll look at his stat balance. Unfortunately, you cannot look at characters without having the arena rings on them. You can't look at their base stats. So it's going to be arena ring stats from now on, but he's heavily balanced towards damage, which is kind of strange because his role is medic. He's got 2,710 attack, 2,367 defense, and 1,992 HP. As I said before, he is a medic and he is obviously going to remain strong. I'm not really sure about that stat balance, if I'm honest. You'd obviously want him to be more supporty, where he has balanced stats, or more balanced towards HP, or more balanced towards defense. He's balanced towards attack, so his attacks are going to be pretty nice. He's going to be doing quite a lot of damage, obviously with that 450% rush, which he keeps. It goes to 76 AR. It's called Death and Life. I'm pretty sure, yeah, the 5-star version was called Life and Death. Interesting. Not too much creativity there, but I like it. I do like it. Deal 450% damage and 100% heal reduction for 3 turns to one enemy. So only a small addition to that first half of the rush, and the second half of the rush remains exactly the same. So pretty much Hershel is exactly the same as his 5-star version. Just gets a little boost, very minor boost. In the heal reduction goes to 100% for 3 turns to an enemy. That's it. Nothing else. But I think that's actually pretty decent as an adjustment, especially not been made worse like we've had Romanov and the sort of, I don't even know what was going on with Jackson's rush. So basically, I think this is okay. It's not as good as it could potentially have been. There could have been more on this. There could be a second part of the revive, for instance, could have healed that character over 2 turns to get them up to 100% HP, for instance. But it's not too bad. He's an attacking character, going to be doing reasonable amounts of damage, but he's also going to be reviving someone once he does that. Now we'll look at his active skill, and it's called Bleed and Heal. It has an initial cooldown of 2, cooldown of 3, deal 300 bleed damage for 3 turns to one enemy, up to 2 teammates regain up to 35% of their max HP. Now this is actually pretty nice, especially within the current sort of, I would say, free-to-play meta of having to utilize bleed quite heavily against these very top level teams. And the fact that Lacerator Shiva is available right now, and I would say definitely go and pick her up regardless of if you've got Hershel or not, he's going to be really useful with that character. The revive in there as well is a massive bonus, and it's pretty cool. I actually kind of like this. The downside is the second half, up to 2 teammates regain up to 35% of their max HP. It's okay, I guess. I think most people would prefer AP bonuses over heal bonuses, because obviously rushes are much more important than heals. However, I think the first half of it is kind of the selling point. It does have an initial cooldown of 2 as well, so you can get that off fairly quickly. And so in my opinion, the active skill isn't too bad. Now he keeps the specialist skill Execution, and this means that anyone who's 20 HP or less will obviously get executed and wiped out. But with some of these S-class characters, for instance Pete, I've come up against with 9 to 10,000 HP so far. He's going to be able to one-shot them once they've got around about 1,900 to 2,000 HP, which is actually pretty nice to just get that huge amount of damage off. Obviously, it's not going to be a decapitate. If he uses his rush the turn before and then executes them afterwards, they'd still be heal reduced by 100% for 2 turns. So effectively, it would be a short turn decapitate. But execute isn't really the best all in all, but it will get stronger and stronger as much as these HP numbers are going up and up. Percentages always scale, generally quite badly in terms of like percentages get more OP the longer games go on. The weapon, he has no weapon, so you can fit a stun katana in his hand straight away. You might want to make him more offensive to utilize that rush, get as much damage out of him as possible, or you might make it more defensive so he's got more balanced stats between his HP and his defense compared to his attack, because his attack is extremely high. It really is multiple ways you can go with this character. Now obviously when this character was first leaked, there was something that I did. I think these are going to be his stats as well. I don't think these stats have changed in terms of the 1929 attack, 1821 defense, and 1607 HP. I think those are going to be his stats without the 30 veteran rings, but I'm not 100% certain. They can't confirm that, unfortunately, at the moment, unless they're maxed out on veteran gear, which is kind of annoying, but hey, that's the way it is. Now this is the character build that I made when it was leaked, and my rush had deal 450% damage to one enemy. Up to 3 enemies get minus 50% defense for 2 turns. Now, my theory was here that we could basically make a mini Diego, in that he does a little bit of a debuff, but he doesn't give the impair, and revive one teammate with 60% at max HP. I pretty much made him identical to what he's become, and I wouldn't say that would be too bad. At the time, we needed defense down, but right now I think heal reduction probably would work better. So for the first time at comparing my rush to the release character's rush, I'd actually say the release character rush is much better than mine in terms of how useful it is in the meta right now. You can use that on, let's say, S-Class Pete again. He can't active himself, which is really useful because that active is very strong on himself. The percentage heal, obviously, his HP is so high that he's giving himself huge amounts of HP, whereas that just can't happen anymore. So I actually prefer the rush of the character that's been released. Now, in terms of the active skill, mine was Recover Impair, and I was mainly thinking about this character on a defense team rather than an attack team, and the fact that there are not many Recover Impairs within Strong. I think one of the only characters at the time, at least, was Pam. I'm not sure if any have been released since. I actually kind of think that the Bleed is nicer as well, in terms of, I think Hershel's more of an attack team character. The fact that he doesn't heal, but he can bring someone back up, just with the fact that I think he's a pretty nice character for an attack team. He could work on a defense team as well. It's interesting. I do think the character they've released is probably better than mine. I don't think he's super strong, the character they've released, but he will fit into certain teams. But I think at the time, because this was way back in March when he was leaked, the character that I built was probably better for that time. But for now, definitely the character they've released is better than what I came up with. Defense down won't do much against these massive HP teams, whereas heal block will. It will stop revives for 3 turns. It will stop a lot of things, which is useful with teams like with Mia in it. That way you can kill somebody and then you've got 3 turns to deal with Mia. Her active will not go off, that sort of thing. So all in all, I think Hershel is actually pretty good, and he is fairly offensive, even though he is not an attacking character. And I'd go ahead and say, compared to Sawyer, Jackson, and Romanov, he is the best attacking character we've had released this year as a Generation 2 free-to-play character, without a doubt. In terms of how useful he's going to be on certain teams, how much they haven't changed him. He's kept pretty much 95% of his fundamentals from his 5-star, so 0 complaints from me personally. I think he's a decent character. I don't think he's going to instantly come into your team and just make you amazingly strong, but he can have some synergy with characters that are available right now. Especially, you know, you've got Lacerator Davey, for instance, been put into some of these wheels, so you can get hands on a Lacerator pretty easily. Shiva's still in the league store for a couple of weeks, so I definitely would get your hands on her. Now, if you don't have Hershel, there is also an offer that has been popping up for some people, which is $9.99, which is pretty good value for an instant 6-star, if I'm honest. You also get 1 War Can and 1 World Can. If you don't have Hershel and you have sort of a bleed team they could fit into, this could be actually a pretty worthwhile offer for you. I think this is one of the better offers I've ever seen, especially for a newly released character. And if you're new to the game, this character will be actually useful long term because he has Revive. He'll help you through world maps, he'll help you on the road maps, he'll be good for SR, and he's going to be good for raids as well. He's Generation 2, so his stats are boosted. Obviously, he's not S-Class, but who knows what's comes up in the future, we just don't know. But as a 6-star Generation 2 character, he is very useful for pretty much every part of the game right now, although he may fall off in raids as more S-Class characters come in. But do tell me what you think about Hershel. Will you be ascending him? Do you think he has some usage in any teams that you've come up with? Do tell me any of those ideas with those teams. It is always interesting to hear some of those team builds that you guys can come up with. But that's the end of my video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.